Welcome to Softcore History.
Welcome into Softcore History. I'm your host for the week, Dan Regester, joined as always by Rob Fox.
What is up?
And just Rob today.
Just me today. And it's
show.
like only half of me, really. I just spent 3 days murdering myself at my best friend's wedding.
So you're a little broken.
I'm extremely, broken. On Sunday, I was like, I don't know if I could fucking drink again. We were at his house watching the Chiefs game, and I was just like,
Maybe questioning your own existence.
I didn't have time. I was too busy to have an existential crisis. That's for tonight.
You have kids?
Yeah. Or on the plane. Even on the plane, I was just like fucking too dead. And actually, I was really distracted on the plane because this is how down bad the MLS is, by the way. There was a bunch of LA Galaxy coaches on the plane.
Just sitting coach?
Yeah, it was Southwest. There's a pro sports team flying Southwest.
They get to choose their own seats, though.
Yeah, he got an aisle seat.
Hopefully they upgrade.
But he was like on his non-Apple tablet. Again,
it's like, shit, we forgot to check in.
MLS down bad. Yeah.
No.
Dude, some of them were not Group A. Yeah, so LA Galaxy, not even Group A on the fucking Southwest flight. But I was like, I've never, ever spied on anyone on my plane before. But this dude was like doing game manager stuff. Like he was like on his tablet, like filling out like strategy shit and other stuff. And he would get up and go talk to, I think they were.
Is it like FIFA though, where it's just the pitch and
yes,
the player's name?
Yes, yeah.
I think he was just playing FIFA.
Or what's the one that's big in Europe? Football Manager?
I don't know.
There's one where you don't even play. Like it's just like Football Manager.
I think Madden had a version of that with like head coach.
Yeah.
Like Andy Reid's on the cover.
Actually, there's a baseball version that's really popular called Outside the Park or something.
Why
like
would
that.
you want that?
Out of the Park. Out of the Park is what it's called.
Yeah, we're going to take away all the cool parts of the game.
You build the roster, you moneyball it and shit. You're Billy
That's
Bean.
not a fun game.
People like it.
No, nobody likes that. I'm pretty sure that's why they continued to not make it.
Well, they do still make Out of the Park baseball, but fair enough.
Anyway, I was a middle seat at my last flight from to Oregon on Alaska Airlines. I got to see the Northern Lights through a phone.
What do you mean? You had to look out the window, but somebody's phone was in the way.
Since I was middle seat, somebody at the windows, window seat had to put their phone up and was taking photos, and you could see through that, but you couldn't see through the actual window.
Right. So you really, I don't think that counts as seeing.
I don't think so.
The Northern Lights at all.
They're still evasive to me. Today we're going to talk about a man, Pope Gregory IX, referred to as the Antichrist himself.
Okay.
Someone who was personally named by Dante as belonging in the 6th region of hell.
Fuck yeah. Let's go. We haven't talked about popes enough recently, so I'm into this.
It's not a pope, though.
I know, but Pope makes an appearance.
Yeah, you gotta hit the Catholic checkbox every
We
now
do,
and then.
especially in spooky month.
Mm-hmm. He was controversial from the jump. His father, Holy Roman Emperor Henry VI, doubted that his mother, Constance, at her advanced age, could even get pregnant, let alone produce an heir for him.
So was she like 28?
I mean, yeah, probably.
Just
gotta
an
think.
old witch at that point, yeah.
Decrepit woman at
Ugh.
29.
Yeah, just disgusting. That is funny if there was what they call, if this was like a true, although even a geriatric pregnancy is not that old. Like, I think Courtney's current pregnancy might technically be a geriatric pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, you old 35-year-old hag.
Time to move on
Yeah.
to a younger womb.
How does that even work? They look at me. They're like, what are you doing?
You're just pumping out kids.
Yeah,
too.
put it in a younger one. And I was like, well, I wanted to. But
Are you worried about the third kid?
it could be a
At her
monster.
advanced age, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I could be like this, actually. You might be giving me a preview of what my third child is like.
Mhm. The Antichrist himself.
Yeah. Fuck.
With his counsel, they found a prophecy from Merlin, of all people. Yes, that Merlin.
The Merlin. Who, what year was this? It's got to be the
This-
Renaissance, right?
1194.
Okay, so not before the Renaissance, but Merlin would have been like 600 years earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not like he's getting direct
messaging
from Merlin, who's not even a real person, by the way.
Well, that's one theory.
He's like kind of based on other like multiple people.
Yeah.
Kind of like a lot of people during his time. Like Ragnar is not really one person for the Vikings. He's based on like 3 different Vikings.
Yeah. I think Gilgamesh is the same way.
Yeah. I mean, it's most people in the... There's kind of like this dark age period where it's just like, oh yeah, we're just going to create stories.
Yeah.
Kind of our own
And
myths.
make it a guy. Because people don't want to hear about like 19 different guys. Just make it one guy.
Make it one dude. Make him dope.
Something to aspire to be.
Just somebody the boys can rally around.
Yeah.
So they take a prophecy from Merlin, his council, Henry VI, and they finally accept that the unborn child was destined for greatness.
Okay. Well, the
This is
Antichrist, in a way, is destined for greatness. So
The prince that was promised
yeah.
by Merlin.
I'm just saying, like, something can be both terrible and great in terms of just like awe-inspiring. Like, wow, it's a big pile of bones you made.
You have to be great to be terrible.
Yeah.
Like, there's plenty of awful humans that
You don't have to be terrible to be
terrible
great,
because
but yeah.
they're not terrible because they're not really important enough to be terrible.
Yeah.
Like a homeless man on Skid Row,
Terrible, but
but not really.
not great. Couple sex crimes that no one will investigate or care about. But like, yeah, do we need like Vlad the Impaler shit here?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So his mother, Constance, had to swear on every Bible in the realm,
Like literally?
jump through every hoop to ensure her husband that it was in fact his kid. She gave birth to Constantine the Great, later known as Frederick II,
Okay.
in the public square in Jezi in 1194.
So she put on a show?
They had to. They had to prove that this old witch
How
could
old
produce
was she?
the air. I have no idea.
I gotta look this up. All right, keep going. I gotta look this up real quick.
But they don't have good records for their parents to be like, oh, she was, they have rough estimates.
Okay, but I want to even know the rough estimate
Okay.
because I want to know if they were making like a 50-year-old woman get in the public square in wooden stirrups and just. I want to know.
Okay. So it's Constance of Sicily.
Constance of Sicily. Okay, great.
She gives birth in the public square, 1194, in front of the entire kingdom to prove the fact that this was both her and Henry VI's kid.
She's 40.
She's 40?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It's really funny that she's 40. Like this old. I'm telling you though.
It's like a great grandmother back then.
That's why it is. Well, we were talking about that on one of the other shows. I can't remember if it was on Patreon or Maine, but how it was just like, this is why. It's just like once the sheen of childhood of youth was off of you at like 20, you just were beat. Just beat. I think that's why they married 14-year-olds back then.
Not only beat, but you were kind of a nuisance.
Like, yeah, what are you doing? This is another mouth to feed.
It's like an old dog. Just pissing all over the house. Yeah. What are you doing here? Put her down.
Yeah, there's no songs about beautiful 38-year-olds in medieval times.
In 1194?
No.
Certainly not. So they have the kid in front of the whole kingdom. A year later, 1195, Henry rushes over to Sicily in a power grab when the crown becomes available. Soon after...
He got to claim a bit, right? Since she's from there.
He's not.
She is.
She is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, once that door's open, it's like, yeah, let's get as much power as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Which the Pope's not super pumped about because he's like, you know what? Holy Roman Emperor, Sicily, we need 2 different governments there. We can't have this man just accumulate all this power.
And weren't the Normans there?
So they are Norman, kind of.
The Normans are kind of everywhere. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
He was crowned after his father dies a few years later, and the toddler son of the Holy Roman Emperor in Sicily is crowned at 3. So
Love that.
Frederick II takes power at 3 as a young tyke.
The Antichrist gets power at 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's all for you, Frederick II. It's all for you.
But his mother quickly gives up his titles in Germany a year later, seeing the writing on the wall that the Pope did not like the idea of such a young kid having this much territory.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He preferred 2 different governing bodies to limit the power of each ruler because, again, at the end of the day, Pope's in charge, man.
Yeah, you can't be bigger than the Pope. And at this point, yeah, there really is no like dominant, like crazy strong power in Europe. The certainly not a Catholic one. Like the Franks and Holy Roman Empire are probably the 2 biggest, and then really probably the most powerful country in Europe would still be the Eastern Roman Empire, but they're not Catholic. So, and by the way, I was looking it up because I wanted to double check, but this is right after the episode we did on the Pope who hated the Second Amendment, Innocent II.
Yeah.
Who said you couldn't use rain because that was all about Sicily.
Yeah, because we're going to be talking about Innocent III.
Oh, sweet. Let's go.
His mentor.
Fredericks?
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll get into that. So he's crowned at 3, gives up territory to Germany. Still, he's going to be the ruler of Sicily one day. But his mother, Mama Bear, becomes queen regent of Sicily and gives the papal state power over the region as well. She's like, all right, I'm going to rule in his stead until he becomes of age. But also, here you go, Pope. This is your territory now.
Yeah. My great tidings to you, Pope. An island. I give you an island. He'll totally give it back, too.
Mm-hmm. Not fully trusting his mom. His uncle invades Sicily in 1200.
Yeah.
And kidnaps young Constantine. And thus begins Freddy II's origin story.
So do we get an explanation on why the name switches?
From Constantine and Frederick?
Yeah.
That's when he takes crown, he just takes the name Frederick.
Oh, okay.
He's born Constantine because his mother is Constance.
Okay, so he just runs around the castle. They probably his friends call him Connie, but he officially, legally, Frederick.
His legal king name is
Frederick
he adopts
II.
Frederick
Okay.
II. Yeah, Constantine. Yeah, his day ones call him Constantine.
Yeah, Connie, look at the horses, Connie.
He was raised in the royal courts of Palermo, taught 5 different languages, and Pope Innocent III became Constantine's legal guardian, and the lad became the Pope's protege.
I'll just leave all the molestation jokes on the cutting room floor.
Back then, you think it was kind of like that?
Yes.
Still?
Yes. Although I do think they probably fucked women more back then.
I think they had more of an affinity for women.
Yeah.
Popes just had side
popes
pieces.
in particular were probably
They
banging
kids.
chicks. Yeah. I'm just saying it's an easy layup. The king of priests adopts a young boy. It is what it is. But yeah, popes were banging.
He's going to
chicks.
shape and kind of form the future for him.
You want the kid who is basically going to be your muscle.
Yeah.
To like
you got to be able to control him. You're going to be the puppet master.
Yeah.
He's going to be up front. He's going to do anything you tell him to do.
Yeah, 100%.
So at 1211 at the Diet of Nuremberg, backed by Innocent III, Freddy II was elected king of Germany over Otto of Brunswick and crowned in 1212.
Bang.
Innocent III died in 1216, and it wasn't until 1220 that Fred was officially crowned Holy Roman Emperor by Honorius III.
By the way, these popes, they obviously are power-hungry people, like a lot of them, but he's playing the long game.
Yeah.
He's thinking ahead of himself.
Honorius III also was one of his tutors as a child.
Okay.
So still kind of in the good graces of the Pope. Still hasn't fully turned on the papacy.
Oh, no, he turns on. Yeah, he is the Antichrist. Fuck this guy already.
I know. Going out against the Catholic Church?
Would never.
What's
I would
your
never.
deal, dude?
I would never. Do you know how many confessions I went to because I was at a Jewish wedding this weekend? My God. I still have my Sicily on.
Did they have something you could pop into at the airport in St. Louis?
Yeah. St. Louis
it's
is
a big
very
Catholic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Catholic city, so I imagine you hop into the confessional at the airport.
Yes, we initially didn't have it, but there was this really great movement. A lot of brave Catholics forced the airport to get rid of the lactation stations and women's restrooms and make all of those confessionals.
Yes.
And to this day, I thank them.
Now, we're not here to talk about the intricacies of his political career, his constant clashes with the papacy in the future, where he is excommunicated from the church twice, or the crusades that he launched.
He excommunicated for the crusades?
No, he had 2 other crusades, but we're not here to talk about it.
Okay.
We're not here to talk about that. It's,
We're getting personal.
Just like Freddy II paid no attention to the sanctions imposed upon him, we're not going to dive into further calling Moses, Muhammad, even Jesus frauds.
Oh, we're not going to get into that.
We're not getting into that.
Well, I mean, I don't know that 2 out of the 3 of those would even make the Pope very angry.
That's for another episode.
It seems like only the Jesus one would really rub the Pope the wrong way. Maybe Moses. Certainly not Muhammad.
We're not going to get into how he was married at least 3 times, fathered 8 legitimate children, and had many mistresses and illegitimate children through his lifetime.
Well, that's just the part of the game.
No, it is spooky month, and we're here to talk about his side quest, batshit crazy experiments he conducted in his never-ending thirst of knowledge.
Oh, no. Was he the original Nazi scientist?
Kind of.
God damn it.
He is referred to as the wonder of the world, after all.
Perfect.
And it's not because he was like a great-looking dude or...
Yeah. I just like that every generation there's a guy who thinks he's really smart because he's like, what if I sold this man to this dog? Could it be a dog man? And like, no, they died. They're both gonna die. And they did immediately. Now we know.
You're not far off.
Yeah. Now we know. The dog man is impossible.
Tale as old as time.
It's always the same thing too. It's like, what if we sold one thing to another thing with stitches?
He is sometimes
Stitch them
referred
together.
to as Emperor Frankenstein.
God damn it. He's
Frederick
like, I'm a great man of many mental prowess.
was known for his great curiosity in science and the lengths he would go in his quest for wisdom and empirical understanding, both fascinated and repelled his contemporaries.
I just have a real problem with the way all that's described. He loved science? Like if jamming a firecracker up a frog's ass is not a science experiment.
Sometimes you gotta see
It's just
how
fucking
far
not.
each piece of the frog is gonna go when it explodes.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer is just doing science experiments, putting a fucking power drill into someone's head. They're like, oh, now we know.
It's all in the name of wisdom.
Yeah.
First up, Fred was very curious about the nature of the human soul
Oh, boy.
and its relationship with the body.
Yeah, oh, God.
He conducted experiments on prisoners,
Well,
terminally ill individuals, peasants, or just people he didn't want around anymore.
it really takes a left turn there. It's like prisoners. Oh, that's bad, but I guess they're prisoners. Terminally ill. Well, they're gone anyway. Poor people. And then other, apparently.
And then whoever he kind of
then anyone else
felt like killing.
So anyone.
Mm-hmm. You were open season.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wanted to see if there was any physical evidence of the soul's departure from the body.
There's only one way to find out. Gotta look.
He would put these unfortunate individuals into a sealed wooden casket or barrel, deprive them of food and water until that person eventually perished.
Right.
The whole process was closely observed throughout, especially as the man drew close to death. A hole was made in the barrel for this purpose, and it soon became apparent why.
I'm actually stumped. Unless they're just like peeking in to watch. I don't.
The point of the experiment was to test whether or not the human soul could be seen at the moment of death as it left the body.
Oh,
So the hole had to be, carved out so the soul could leave.
Presumably, if Frederick himself wasn't a part of it, he was 0 degrees away from hundreds of people who had been in battles and watched people die like 20 times in a day. It's the 1100s, so you can go to an execution any day of the week. Like it's a fucking Starbucks.
Too much space.
So
You have to encapture,
Okay.
and
You need the right lighting, maybe.
you got to see the soul come out of the body. 'Cause if there's too many souls, it's just,
Yeah. It just looks like smog.
yeah.
You don't really know
It's a
what
mist.
Yeah. It's hard to say. Good Lord. All right. Science.
It's a child trying to catch Santa Claus. Setting up traps.
Right.
Fucking trying to vacuum in the soul.
That's just Oh, man. Yeah, whenever anyone's like, I got it's just because it's like you're not a scientist. You just have the means to answer any question you have any way you want.
Yeah, but you have the resources to do so.
That's what I'm saying. You have the means to do whatever you want.
Frederick also had a strong interest in medicine and is believed to have been involved in or encouraged the study of medical practices. He promoted medical inquiry, particularly in the fields of surgery and anatomy, based on the knowledge that flowed into his court from the Islamic world and other regions.
Yeah, I mean, the Muslims were the ones definitely on the cutting edge. Maybe the Chinese, but I don't remember. But this is the golden age of Islam, right? Baghdad has not fallen.
Yep.
Yeah, so they're the ones.
And
And
might
they
be close to falling.
what?
Might be close.
It's around that time, but I don't think it's fallen yet.
I forget.
But yeah, I mean they're the best at it, and then they're nice enough to give people sedatives, at least. Wonder if Frederick is.
Well, in another experiment, Frederick ordered 2 prisoners be given dinner, each man to be fed the same food as the other. After eating, one man was sent out to go hunt, while the other was told to go to bed and sleep off the meal he ingested. Unknown to the 2 men, Frederick intended to investigate the different effects that exercise and sleep might have on the digestion process.
Only one way to find out. What's it look like?
This was achieved a few hours afterwards when Frederick had both men killed and disemboweled for the purpose of comparing the state of the contents of their stomach to see what had greater effect.
Well, like on digestion?
Mm-hmm.
Like what gets the food moving? I need to find out the optimal way to eat food. So let's get some hobos, feed them some pie, and one exercises, one sleeps, and we'll murder them, cut them open.
I mean, he could have been on like the cutting edge of, health and fitness.
This is absolutely something that at least 500 Instagram influencers would do if they had the means to do it.
He's like, what do carbohydrates do for a workout?
Yeah. I need to
Gotta spike the insulin.
What's your blood look like if you eat carbohydrates and work out and don't work out, and they just like cut a hobo open and smell their blood? I guess I don't even know how they would do it. Taste it.
This peasant had an awesome workout. I mean, that's kind of how you want to go out anyway.
I guess.
Have a dope-ass workout and then just get disemboweled.
Now, did they happen to catch any souls leaving the body as they were also trying to...
Different experiment.
Okay.
So
they weren't even looking.
No, you can't
Yeah.
do both at the same time.
Seems foolish. Science has its limits, after all.
Mm-hmm. It's going to kind of taint the research.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Find 2 different things, yeah.
Too many cooks.
Plus, you have plenty of bodies.
Yeah.
You have plenty of bodies.
You could be doing both these at the same time.
Frederick also established several animal reserves in locations across the widespread kingdom, and he liked to take them on his travels.
What, the animals?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Many of them are either unknown or rare in the areas he visited. He often rolled around with panthers, lions, leopards, giraffes, camels, and elephants.
I was literally about to say giraffes just because I thought it was funny. It would just be funny if Germany somehow ended up with a native giraffe population, because this guy was just like, yeah, it's pretty cool to have giraffes in this forest.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. I mean, I assume one winter probably kills all of them, but...
Until then.
Yeah. It's a fun...
He's like, we're going to test
fun summer.
the limits of giraffes' body temperature.
Did he?
Probably.
Yeah, seriously. How many horses would it take to break a giraffe's neck? Like, we tie a noose around the giraffe's neck and then just tie a horse to it. 1, doesn't do it. Okay, 2, 3, get him on a big wagon thing, get up to like 8 on one of those huge like carriage things. Finally, the giraffe's head pops off.
Can giraffes and elephants live in harmony?
Well, yeah, they can.
They can.
Yeah, they do.
We know that because of him.
Yeah, he did it, yeah.
Now, can apes and rhinos in a very small, contained facility, can they live in harmony?
Feels
Probably
like
not.
a no. Yeah.
Probably not.
Did he experiment on that too?
Well, he was very RFK-like with his interest in falconry.
Okay.
Actually published the book on the subject called The Art of Hunting with Birds, which combined his personal observations with an attempt to categorize different species of bird and their behaviors. And he, of course, tested their abilities by torturing other animals and occasionally a pour to get data on his beloved birds.
This guy just needed data. Yeah, he just needed that like constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, how did he torture? Was he having the birds like hunt people?
Sometimes. Just kind of swoop down.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Fuck, I would go to that. Fuck, yeah, I would go to that. Like
The most dangerous game.
Let's just say I'm in Pakistan for some reason. And some Pakistani guy is like, hey, there is a murderer, a serial killer that's being executed today. And he's being executed by, we're tossing him into a field naked, and golden eagles are going to hunt him.
There's about a dozen birds that are just going to dive bomb down.
Would you like to go?
And tear them to pieces.
Yeah. Would you like to go to the serial killers and see what a bird hunting a human is like? And I'd be like, he's a confirmed serial killer? Yeah. Okay. I'll go. Will there be refreshments?
Mm-hmm. Bird of prey, tearing a man apart.
Yeah, I'll go.
Kind of
I'll go.
Kind of game.
Who am I to judge your culture?
Oh, this has happened probably 10 times at least in human history.
What, bird
execution?
Bird execution. It's not 0.
As it was in fashion for the time, Frederick often engaged in alchemy.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't even blink an eye at that.
No. Of course, our boy was dabbling with substances like gold, silver, mercury, and other elements in attempts to transform materials or uncover the secrets of nature. He sought the discovery of the Philosopher's Stone, the transmute base metals into gold, and achieve, of course, eternal life.
So he was looking for the Philosopher's Stone, not the Sorcerer's Stone. The Philosopher's Stone. Same thing, but
yeah,
the Americanized version is stupid. Like, we're just so dumb. Philosopher's Stone sounds way better, but an 8-year-old is not going to read something with the word philosopher in it.
He's just mixing metals and...
Yeah, the main thing is to try to make gold out of anything.
Yeah, that was a big thing, but he also wanted eternal life. That was,
yes,
I think, the ultimate goal.
Yes. Yeah, the Philosopher's Stone gives you like a little... all of this is based on the Harry Potter book.
Had the Bunsen burners going.
Yeah, Nicholas Flamel was a real guy, too. People don't know that.
He also loved a good animal and human dissection and perhaps a stitching together.
I mean, it seems like it got to that at some point. Like, I just like that there's some amount of scientists in history that are basically the doctor from South Park who just makes animals with like 5 asses.
Yeah.
Like, that's... Some people really, they're not in it for learning beyond their own imagination. Like, they want to know what would happen, but it's like the most useless knowledge, the most useless shit you will ever learn. He's just like, I'm personally curious what would happen if you sewed 20 pigeons to a man's back. Would he fly?
You got to get some of the evil out of you.
I think it just puts more into you, to be honest. Because once you do that first
one, that's what happens. When you feed the beast, it only gets hungry.
Right, exactly. Like, it's just, you see it, you do it once, and you're like, A, I did it. B, no one got really mad. And C, a couple people thought it was pretty cool, so maybe I'll keep doing it.
Dude, you take some of those falcons, the talons get sewn into a man's back. He's flying.
Yeah, I think
you're going to make an angel.
I think with the falcons, you go one on each shoulder. So, yeah, it's like it's a freak angel.
We're making a creature of God. Frederick II had strong connections to the Islamic world, as I said, particularly through his rule in Sicily and his diplomatic meetings with Muslim rulers in the Middle East. He maintained a court where scholars from the Arab world were welcomed and engaged with ideas that combined Greek philosophy, Islamic science, and mysticism.
Just a little fun stuff.
In particular, Muslim scholars were often well-versed in astrology and alchemy, disciplines that were considered part of the occult tradition in medieval Europe. This, of course, got him excommunicated from the church.
Wow. Was he just like one and done? I mean, they had to be just pissed off in general that he was hanging out with Muslim dudes and all that shit, even though Sicily, like you said, like, it was kind of a crossroads at the time because the Normans did take it back, I think, in the around the same time that they took the English crown. They also took Sicily, and then but before that, Sicily, like, yeah, it was part of the different caliphates for a couple hundred years, I feel like. So they were still there.
He also had sorcerers and people that kind of dealt with dark magic on his council, so that
Man,
might have
I bet you he was so into gin.
pissed off the church.
I bet you he loved gin. I bet you he wanted nothing more than to see a gin.
He probably tried to make a man of fire.
He did. He was like, how can we turn a mud person into a fire person? If you don't know what that means.
Light him up.
Yeah, Islam believes that humans were created from dirt, from dust, whatever. From dust you came, dust you return. And genies are canonical in Islam, but they're made from fire. Hence, they're, in my opinion, the superior species. I am racist against my own kind because, fire person is cooler. But, God, he would have gone fucking bananas. And he probably did light someone on fire. Just to be like, I wonder if we could turn him into a genie.
Yeah.
If we light him on fire. All right, try
How
again.
hot does the body need to get to turn into a djinn?
That guy was a pussy. Let's get someone stronger. I think you need to be pretty strong to do it. No more kids.
Or that maybe that's why he was trying to capture the souls.
For what?
You turn the souls into a genie.
I think you just want to trap a soul, and it looks pretty in a mason jar.
Mm-hmm. But what is a genie other than an entrapped soul with superpowers?
That's true, pretty much. When it's in the lamp, that'd be funny if he just it was like a college apartment. He just had 20 mason jars of souls lining the top of his cabinets, but he also just put some highlighter fluid in there, so it was cool, different colors. Maybe backlit it.
Or ran out of really awesome containers, so he's like, man, I got a empty Grey Goose bottle.
Just put it in there.
You're the genie inside of a Grey Goose.
Why not? It's like a crab. They're like crabs, you know what I mean? They just have to find something to be inside of. Doesn't matter if it's a shell or an old Coke can.
Mm-hmm. Man, a Coke can would do wonders for a crab.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of crabs in literal human garbage.
That just means you're in a better country.
Maybe.
You're in a Coca-Cola country.
Not a Pepsi country?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know that? Do you know why Coca-Cola is in kind of richer countries?
No, I literally don't.
Or allied countries?
No.
Because they helped set up factories in World War II.
Oh.
So Coca-Cola, I forget the actual logistics of this, but they helped the Allied forces and kind of banish their product from the Axis.
Okay.
And those fucking turncoats, Pepsi, all up in the Axis.
I think Pepsi's the bigger soda in Russia.
Yeah, because of that. Really.
Yeah. Which not in Axis power, but right after that became
more or
an
less.
enemy. They became they weren't good. Yeah, that's funny. I didn't know that.
So you see a crab with a Coca-Cola shell?
Might be in France.
That's a hero right there. Now you're gonna hate his most famous and perhaps darkest experiment.
Okay.
You're gonna really hate it as a father.
Oh, Jesus, man. I just got to see my kids for the first time in 3 days. What was he doing? What was he selling toddlers to?
He wasn't selling children anything.
Okay.
It's darker.
Great. Perfect. That's awesome.
Now, his opponents, particularly in the church, painted him as a figure who dabbled in forbidden knowledge.
They were correct.
Yeah.
They didn't paint him that way. They were just accurately describing him. Although, is that knowledge? First off, forbidden knowledge is actually not an accurate way to put that. Because, one, there's no knowledge. Only as much as there is knowledge, again, and being like, I wonder what it would sound like if you cut a baby's hand off. That's not really knowledge. It is technically information, but I don't know that it's knowledge per se.
You're like, it doesn't work. Check that off the box.
Yeah. Oh, now we know what it sounds like when you cut a baby's hand off. You could have guessed, and you didn't need it. You didn't need the information.
Don't worry, we're not cutting kids up.
All right, great.
We're not stitching kids up. We're not really paying attention to kids at all.
Oh, so let me
get to it.
They Unabombered them.
We'll get to it. This is perhaps his most brutal experiment. The origins of human language was something that he was fascinated with. He embarked upon an experiment that he hoped would prove what was the original language of mankind.
So it was like a reverse Tower of Babel, kind of.
I'm unfamiliar with that story. Go ahead and...
So
Give me that wisdom. Yeah.
It's like a biblical story where I think humans were like, they were just like, let's build a fucking tower. Like, God's up there. Let's build a tower all the way up to God. And they were doing it. They were like crushing it.
Where were you?
Yeah, when they built the ladder. They were building a ladder to heaven.
Heaven.
And God was like, oh, shit. They're getting pretty close. How can we fuck this up? And he was like kind of nice about it. Like, he could have just killed them all, right? Made the tower collapse. But he was like, I'm going to make all of you speak different languages.
Oh, okay. So it was almost like a construction site.
It was basically, yeah, honestly. But it was basically like the origin story. It's like the biblical origin story for language, basically. Like, not beyond the singular, whatever, proto-language that they believed existed but never did.
Okay. Well, Frederick didn't do that. In his eagerness to determine what language had been given to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, he gave hundreds of babies over to the care of nurses who were given strict instructions on how to raise them.
Don't talk to them.
The nurses were ordered not to interact with the kids, other when strictly necessary. The infants could be fed and bathed, but no more. And they were not to be spoken to or coddled under any circumstances.
Jesus Christ, God damn it.
Hundreds of children, starved of any form of affection, warmth, basic interaction, died. Quite simply, out of a lack of love.
Yeah, that sounds probably accurate. Also, I mean, a lot of infants just died anyway back then, so who knows? Maybe some died for normal-ish reasons, but good Lord. And then also, so this...
And he also did not find the answer, because...
No shit!
None of the kids spoke.
Yeah, no fucking shit. So there was... I think we've talked about this on the show before a while ago or something, but you remember that German family, the German dad who just kept all his kids fucking locked in the basement from birth? Or actually, no. He kept some of his kids locked in the basement and then, like, fucking raped his daughter while he was down there, and the daughter had kids, I think. One for sure, but I think multiple. And they were raised down there none of the kids could speak. They were raised down there not knowing any language. And so when they finally found him, when this shit happens, like, it's obviously hyper unethical to do what he did to try to figure out a language. But when it happens organically, social scientists and language scientists or whomever it pertains to will, like, rush to that situation to get data that they can't otherwise collect because you obviously you can't fucking collect it. So it's kind of like, because they're not trying to find out, like, oh, this baby that was locked in a dark basement with speaking Adam and Eve's language. It's mostly just like brain development information, language development.
Yeah, we're not going to do it ourselves, but if it's already available.
Pretty literally, yeah, they'll do that. So I remember the German one being a situation where it was like a bunch of, after the kids were taken care of and made as okay as you could possibly make a child necessary, but the kids were speaking like gibberish language, like making noise.
I imagine you would develop something that would help you communicate with the other kids. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's
it would almost be probably pre-man. You're just making kind of grunts and sounds.
Pretty much. I think they believe we developed what?
Like a Neanderthal-esque language.
Yeah. I think they actually believe we developed like sign language before we developed spoken language.
That would make sense.
Yeah. Like it was just like, and then you start adding noises to it, like the like, oh, yeah, it's a buffalo or whatever. But yeah, that's fucking
just making fun of all the artsy kids that kind of drew stick figures on caves.
Yeah.
Just essentially calling them gay.
Pretty much, yeah. Bitch.
And those were the experiments of Frederick II. Obviously, like I said, we can get into... There's a whole nother episode about him and...
His actual politics.
Geopolitical career.
Doesn't seem as interesting.
All the things that kind of he came across. He had 2 different crusades, one of which where he never actually... I don't think anyone swung a battle axe or a sword.
Did he even go anywhere?
No, they kind of did it through diplomacy. It was a crusade through diplomacy.
Weak. That's stupid. That's dumb. There were a lot of crusades at that time.
He also spoke like I said, 5 languages as a kid, but throughout his life, he kept picking up more and more languages because he wanted to stunt on everyone. He wanted to just be able to show up and just kind of embarrass you in your language.
That's fair. He's like a good example of just because you're curious, which is admirable, but just because you're curious doesn't mean you're smart.
And
you know
just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, like it's very good to have to always be so curious about the world and questions about the world and everything like that. But if your questions are just like, wonder what would happen if I just like rubbed my poop on my dog, like what? That's not the sort of curiosity you need at all, at fucking all. Like or like whoever decided that like ass chugging alcohol might be interesting.
To be fair, in his defense, he is credited with a couple advancements in like surgery and medical practices.
Okay, I mean, you know what? No one
maybe not necessarily. I mean, he backed the people that did it, but he's not doing it himself.
Yeah, it seems like whenever he was quarterback, the Jerry Jones of science in a lot of ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like he should just be writing checks.
I mean, he is hands on.
Yeah,
certainly.
That's the problem. He needs to just be writing checks. He really can't be the GM. He really can't be making sort of personnel decisions like that.
And clearly, he didn't figure out the eternal life question. Didn't figure out the soul question. Didn't figure out the language problem.
How did he die? Like normal?
Yeah. He just kind of suddenly died in 1250. But, I mean, that was a pretty good life for him.
60 years? 50, 60 years?
He was born in 94.
Yeah.
Died in 1250. It's not a bad. It's 50, what, 54?
55.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty solid, honestly, for the time period.
Yeah.
You never know. You stub your toe wrong, gets infected, you fucking die.
And kind of his bloodline and stuff don't really take over much longer.
Did he had kids, though?
He had 8 kids.
Oh, yeah, that's
legitimate
right,
kids, and then he had a bunch of bastards. He fucked around. Yeah, he's an interesting dude.
I would at least maybe slightly admire him if he had used his own bastard children for the experiment. He was taking other people's kids.
I mean, he might have.
He might have.
He probably did.
I'm just saying, leaders lead.
Like you said, why don't you just kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone?
What do you mean?
You said with certain experiments, I bet he did it with his kids.
Yeah, one would imagine. Like, oh, thank you for bringing the baby.
The prostitute is getting mouthy?
I'm going to totally legitimize this baby. We'll raise it in the castle. Totally don't worry about nothing. Like, put it in the language barn. Take it away.
I just love the whole kind of arc, though, where his mom has to prove that she's going to have a kid at 40. They have to go to this ancient prophecy from Merlin.
From fucking Merlin. And then she's still got to toss her legs up in the town square.
Like, it is our baby.
And push that baby out.
Raise it up like it's fucking Simba.
Oh, boy. I wonder how they cut umbilical cords back then. Probably just a regular knife.
Yeah, probably a knife.
You just fucking chop, chop, chop. Chop, chop, chop. And then you kind of squeeze the rest of it off. I mean, honestly, every birth ever pretty much is like a show. I feel like at some point, maybe if I was a woman, I don't know, definitely speaking out of my ass here, but like when the 2 times Courtney's given birth, there's like 6 people in the room. Back in the Middle Ages, you, in your royal especially, you're already giving birth in front of like 20 or 30 people. Like, it's fucking, what's a few hundred more at that point? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, I'm sure she has like maybe her own off put by like, you know, stinky peasants being there. Like, why does a fucking peasant need to see this? But like when they were giving, like when kings and queens were giving birth, like it's a packed house. The room was full.
You need the entire realm to see.
Right. So like, again, like it's just like, I guess what's a few hundred more? All right, my whole fucking court's in here already. I don't know these people anyway, and I'll never see them again. So fuck it. Let's go.
What was your favorite of the experiments mentioned?
Oh, God. I do like the soul one is like a perfect creepy medieval thing. Like, we're just going to put you in a box.
It's a good time capsule.
Yeah. Drill a hole. And I assume these people had no idea going in. They're just grabbed off the street.
No. Of course not. They're not signing up for that.
Yeah. They're not signing.
Like I'm doing what now?
They're not signing consent forms, for example, for the soul experiment.
Be like, I get a loaf of bread and some soup. You kidding me?
Done.
I'll sign up.
Yeah, it's like drug experiments now, where they're like, you get $1,000 if you take this weird thing for a weekend. You just sleep here. We watch you for 3 days.
My man was sending spices to places too. Obviously, he had such a massive territory that he ruled over. Had the in with the Muslims. So
I mean, Sicily was like a crossroads, certainly a cultural crossroads. So yeah, he probably had some access to some good
that's
fucking
some
food.
Good food.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm a poor person. I get access to maybe some seasoned food if I sign up for it. Yeah, I'm in.
It's a little bit of a misnomer that there was no seasoning.
I get that, but
yeah. Fuck yeah. Sicily's where really all the modern American Italian food comes from. Sicily, southern Italy.
If there was a place to live during that time, Sicily's
top, way up there for sure. It gets conquered a lot, I guess, but
a lot of war, but it's worth it.
Great environment,
for the culture,
like great weather,
the cuisine.
Yeah, seems pretty sweet. I would love to go to Sicily. Actually, that would be high on my list of Italian places to go.
Did he ever really have a chance? I guess. I mean,
Who?
he was kidnapped at a young age by his fucking uncle.
By a pope.
By his uncle and the Pope.
Yeah, whatever.
They kind of groomed him.
If you can't leave your kids with the priest, who can you leave your kids with?
But also, of course, he acts out against the Catholic Church. He was raised by them.
Yeah, was that all it was? Like, fuck you, Dad.
Maybe.
I'll never be like you.
He's like 20s. He's just like rebellious.
I'm not going to pray. I'm going to cut this guy open and see his soul. That actually would be funny.
I think it was more, though, that his like kind of mentors were the people that were in power when he was down with the church, and then once they get removed or once they die, and he had other
his loyalty was to the man, not the institution.
Not the institution.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So he was loyal to Innocent. He was loyal to the other guy after him, and then after that, I think he was just like, you know what, I'm gonna rule now.
Yeah, it would be funny too if he got just like disenchanted with the church because he was so close to it and grew up to it, and he's like, they're not trying to get the answers the right way. I'm going to try to get the answers the way I think is the right way. They're old. They're dumb. They don't do it right. They just sit there and pray and blah, blah, blah. Like, we need to get fucking messy. We need to get in the weeds.
Right. He saw everything the Catholic Church was doing, so he was too close to the situation.
Yeah.
That he knew all of kind of their faults. And he's like, they're not willing to go there.
Yeah. They're not willing to do what you need to do to get the answers we need.
They're not trying to capture souls.
They're not trying. It was like, have you ever even tried to see a soul? You never even tried to see it. It exists, but you never tried to see it. What the fuck? I mean, to a certain extent, that makes sense in it being annoying. They have to be like, Frederick is a metaphysical. It's a little bit of a meta what? Physical, metaphysical. So I can fucking see it. You said physical.
I need to be able to see it.
Yeah. No, Frederick, it's not what you think.
They don't want to use these birds of prey as weapons of war.
Yeah, that's just sweet. Honestly, human hunting with birds is. I can't hate on that.
Or stitching the birds to a human. Make them fly.
Needs to be done. Yeah.
Make them fly.
Yeah. That also, like, he didn't do the experiments I would do.
I bet he was trying to make, like, little giraffes and little elephants, too.
Again, I'm fine with that. Breeding pygmy giraffes and pygmy elephants so you can have them as a pet in your house.
Oh, yeah. It's like, what if we make this giraffe smaller?
Yeah. We make the giraffe. You don't have to prune your bushes anymore. Because the giraffe does it.
I want him to fit in my bedroom chambers.
I want to sleep in a bed with a giraffe. A little bitty giraffe.
That's a noble cause.
I'm there for that. I'm all for that.
But once you stop providing toddlers and children with love and affection, maybe not. Maybe he's trying to create also like another like soulless army.
I mean,
if they make it out of that, they have their own communication. They become fucking deadly ass warriors.
I've said this a lot before, but
or like a group of hitmen.
Yeah, it's something horrific is like 1% more forgivable if there's at least like a semi-coherent goal to it. It's still horrific, but it's like, okay, I can at least see your logic train. Like you deserve to rot in hell, but like I can at least like see what you were thinking. Like other people just like, you don't There was nothing there. What are you doing?
Didn't the KGB do that with kids?
What?
To create kind of like assassins?
Probably. I don't know. I mean, there is
That's
like
the whole plot to Black Widow.
Black Widow and to a lot of other things too. It's just like it's like a very common Cold War
Trope.
era trope is like the
So there's got to be smoke there.
yeah, probably. I mean, they're fucking lunatics.
They probably had programs that
Yeah.
made just deadly, soulless children.
Yeah, 100%. They're doing like the Spartan thing, just like taking kids and training. Yeah, probably.
Who's today's Hitler?
It's proto Hitler here. It's fucking Frederick II.
Who's today's Antichrist?
Yeah, I mean, he's a fucking monster. And again, I think we need to start determining the difference between information and knowledge.
At least he's not just doing this for fun, right? There were plenty of kings and royals that would probably
Just
do this
torture
kind of
for
stuff
fun, I guess.
for the
Yeah,
thrill.
again, I mean, that does make him a little bit better. Not good, not redeemable, but like a little, like 1% better. That it's like, well, you had goals.
It was in the quest. He had some type of something he was trying to achieve.
Yeah.
It wasn't just for the entertainment.
You had goals, and in some way, maybe someone should have said something. And they did.
Maybe the Pope.
Maybe the Pope said something.
Maybe the Pope did
He
say
did
something.
excommunicate him. So
twice.
for literally doing that. So yeah,
No.
we tried to talk to him. Fucking dickhead.
He was rolling with the sorcerers. He's rolling with the Muslims. Maybe his brain got kind of infiltrated
Yeah,
by the dark magic.
as
He was the chosen one.
there's a great line in.
Innocent wasn't alive enough to say that.
That's true. Yeah. And all his
loved you.
mentors are dead too. So
I
he's
loved you, Frederick.
You're a brother, Frederick. You're the chosen one. I have failed you, Frederick. I have failed you.
Man,
That's the better trilogy.
it is.
No one
It's
quotes the original
It's
trilogy.
the best scene in all of Star Wars.
Yeah,
Easily the best scene in any of them.
by fucking far.
And it's all Ewan McGregor.
Yep, he rules. I love you, McGregor.
What'd you learn today?
I actually, well, I don't know that I did. We do an episode on ancient stuff like this before, where they did this in ancient times too. People just like doing weird medical, hard air quote medical things.
That would have been a you episode. So
Probably. So maybe we did. I learned that man's quest for knowledge has been going on for a long time.
the demon within.
Yeah. I just learned that, like, boy, medical experimentation, not great. Been going on for a long time. Longer than you think. Because this is like, people don't think of 1190 or 12. He was doing these experiments probably, 1220s, one would imagine.
Yeah.
Something like that. People don't think of the 1200s and think anyone even thinks about, quote unquote, medically experimenting. Like, the word medical doesn't even fucking clock in your brain for the 1200s.
I mean, they were fucking around with leeches.
Yeah.
They were doing. When you do have that kind of thought in your head, you are thinking of like a medicine man or like somebody that's on their court. What is it in Game of Thrones where they wear the chain?
the maester.
The maester. You think like maestery.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe some magic stuff. But yeah, guys just matching some potions together.
Right. You don't think of like I mean, but we've been doing surgery since not probably. We have been human beings. Surgery is older than writing. It is 100% true if you didn't know that. So it makes sense. But I don't know if I learned anything so much as I was, other than everything just about this guy because I didn't know anything about him. But like I'm just reminded of we've always been cutting ourselves open for some reason.
Yep. Well, that's our episode on Frederick II. I'm sure we could probably dive deeper into his life on the Patreon at patreon.com/softcorehistory,
Fuck yeah.
where you get 2 additional episodes every week. We've been putting out some fire lately.
Goddamn
It's
right.
been
We have
some
spooky
good content.
month, baby.
Spooky month. A lot of episodes behind the paywall. We should be having a guest that has not been on the show before next week.
First
so
time guest, yeah.
Stay tuned. Somebody you know if you have followed us
From the TFM
from the
days.
TFM days. But yeah, that's all I got today. Make sure to leave a review, 5 stars, please, and thank you. Spotify, all you have to do is leave the 5 stars. Apple, please write a review. Maybe next week we will read some of the better ones if we do get enough reviews.
See.
at the end of the episode. And softcorehistory.com for merch. We still need to revamp the store, but there's plenty of good stuff in there. If you want to get some teas, some hats.
Some shit, yeah.
And, yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got. Although, actually, I do want to talk about something that I found out. I don't know any other place to talk about it.
All right.
So shouts to Ian Carroll. He's this kind of conspiracy guy on Twitter and everything. We found out the reason for McDonald's ice cream machine problems.
Oh. What is it?
So there's this company called Taylor, which supplies every McDonald's franchisor with their ice cream machine.
With the soft serve.
Yeah.
We're not talking McFlurries. We're talking like soft serve in the cone.
Typical ice cream machine.
Okay.
Yes. The McDonald's ice cream machine.
Okay.
I think it makes all of it.
Oh, okay, fair enough, whatever.
So soft serve, McFlurries, everything. The reason why it's always broken is by design.
As in, so they can sell more?
As in, the company that makes the ice cream machine that every McDonald's has to buy. Like, it is required.
Right.
They designed a flawed machine.
In order to make those McDonald's buy more of them.
Not buy more, but constantly fix them.
Okay, so need more parts and everything. They're the only supplier of the parts.
So this company makes $75 million a year, and this is all court documented.
Yeah.
Because they're currently getting sued.
By McDonald's owners, franchisers?
No, so there was another company that created a kind of fix-all for the machine. An adapter that you kind of plugged in, and then it went through like a smart app.
Yeah.
And you could fix the machine without having to call the guy.
Oh, wow.
From Taylor. So you could fix the machine. It was a cure-all for everything. And obviously this pissed off Taylor because
the racket he got going.
They had a $75 million a year in just fixing the machines.
Yeah.
Profit.
Like parts and maintenance and stuff like that.
For maintenance.
Yeah.
Which is insane. So like that, it became a meme, right? Like the fucking McDonald's ice cream.
Yeah, it was a huge meme. Yeah.
This company sold sabotage machines in order to fix them and just collect money for years.
Jesus Christ. Fuck Taylor.
For real.
Fuck,
so it's in the courts now.
Let's go.
Because they were trying to steal the kind of technology from this third party that created an adapter to fix it all.
So they could kill it, probably.
So they could steal it and then kill it.
Yeah.
Or like come up with a solution to even like sabotage that. So Ian Carroll's the guy on Twitter. He does a lot of crazy conspiracy shit, but this is like proven.
Yeah, this is like actual
This
real.
is currently going through the legal process.
That's really fucking funny.
So I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and as we say, since he's a conspiracy theorist and got one thing right,
we have
to believe everything he says now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't matter how many other insane things it's like, well, you got the McDonald's thing right. So, I mean, who knows?
I mean, he's a trusted source, right?
You got one right.
He's just trying to get wisdom, knowledge.
Not information.
Expose the truth.
Yeah.
Man, Frederick II was really just kind of maybe just the original, not theorist, but conspiracist.
He's just like, I don't know what he is. Again, he's almost like a health influencer, right? Like a shady one that tells you all dumb things. Like, yeah, man, the toxins. And it's almost like it's like if Aaron Rodgers was king of the Holy Roman Empire. You know what I mean? Like, my mud crystals really help me out, and you can see the soul if we took this island man and trapped him in a box for 8 days and finally saw his soul.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think of the fucking like the health guru that I'm blanking on his name. It doesn't matter. The guy that got busted for having like all those mistresses and stuff.
Oh, I don't even know. I have no idea.
A couple months back.
That could be anyone.
I know. And it only made him more rad and cool.
Yeah.
But it's some he says some wild shit, and I'm like, are we sure?
Yeah, we positive about this.
Sure?
But yeah, if nothing is going to, like, finding out someone is a piece of shit, but in an extremely virile way, is not going to hurt their health brand.
No, absolutely
especially
not.
like their men's internet health brand.
No. So, that's the episode for today. Thanks for tuning in. We love you guys. And for Rob Fox, I'm Dan Regester, and you just got sauce served.